Ready to rock and roll. Okay. Okay. It's just give it. Let's see if there's any other people in attendees. There is not. I think we can keep this meeting pretty short here, probably like a half hour, 45. Oh, Gene's joining us. Good. Hi, Gene.
Hello.
Hello. Um, Anna, can you just give a quick update? What part of the neighborhood do you live in, and why are you excited about joining the community engagement committee? And welcome aboard, by the way. So welcome our newest member, Anna. And I apologize. What part of ANC 1B are you part of?
That is a very good question. Anyway, thank you. And first, I live by 11th and W
Oh, excellent.
in that crossing. Yeah, so it's ANC. I don't remember his name, but I speak a lot with Miguel, which is an ANC 1B1, I think.
Uh, yeah, I think he's.
Um,
Oh, I apologize.
Zero
Yeah.
B01.
Okay.
So he told me about all the committees, and he thought this one would be something that I would enjoy. And yeah, so I've been organizing a lot with the mutual aid tables. I talk a lot to the different coffee shop owners around here. So yeah, so I'm excited to see what we can do and also what ideas we can bring and yeah, and to be part of it, see where it goes.
Excellent. Well, welcome. I know last year we were kind of figuring out our kind of our direction. It was I don't know if Miguel told you or not, but the community engagement committee is the newest one in 1B, and so there was a little bit of I think the first half of the year we were kind of throwing out ideas in terms of what would be some good initiatives, and then we got our feet wet, and then I think near the end of the year we kind of solidified it into a few objectives in terms of what we want to do, and as you'll hear in this meeting, I think the main ones that I know that we're kind of gearing for is the farmers market, which Zavi's been working very hard on. That's a little bit trickier. There's a lot of operational and logistic twists and turns to that. And then the other one that we've been working on is kind of coordinating a back end block party or kind of smaller group events throughout ANC 1B. And they could be existing things that, we kind of tag along to or help support, or they could be new ones that, a lot of neighborhoods are not quite sure how to run a block party. So kind of putting together oh, Karen's here. Excellent. She might be, let me add her. Promote to panelist. Okay, great. Give me one second. Karen, I just promoted you to panelist. Give me one second. And I'm gonna allow to talk. Oh, there she is. Okay, great. Hey, Karen, how you doing?
Good evening. Good evening. I'm sorry, I'm on my phone. I
Oh,
apologize on
gotcha.
my laptop. So,
Um,
good evening, one and all.
oh, good evening. Did you have a good set of holidays?
It was flu. I caught the flu, so
Oh,
I
geez.
had to enjoy that and still do work. How about yourself?
It was good. It was good. It was short-lived, but it was good. We were just welcoming Anna, who's our newest member, and I was just giving her a little bit of highlight of how we ended the year,
Welcome,
and saying
Anna.
that it took us a few months to kind of find our footing, and now we're gearing up for a few things this year. One is the farmers market that Zavi's really leading up the initiative along with Nicholas, and then the other items that we're kind of all jointly working on is the block parties, get-togethers, existing events that are smaller kind of community events, how ANC 1B can help support that financially or just kind of be part of it and see how we can support from the back end. And then last but not least, there's a bunch of other things, irons in the fire, but it's kind of shoring up our events calendar or how ANC can like get a little bit more promotion within the community, and then also community engagement, which is our main focus. How we can get people, residents who are within ANC 1B, one, know about us, and then B, kind of connect with us in some capacity, whether it's volunteering or just being part of the newsletter. But how do we kind of have more touch points with the community? And I know there's a lot more out there that we've been kind of talking about, but that was kind of the things that we were thinking about working on in the back end during the winter months. There are some larger events out there that we're looking to do for like the March, April, May timeframe. The drum circle in Malcolm X Park. We're also looking at doing some collaborative event celebration when the African American Civil War Museum does their grand reopening, and that's a little bit TBD in terms of when they come out of construction on that. And then there's some other larger things that we're kind of waiting on for the ANC 1B commission as a whole to give us a little bit of direction. But that's kind of where we ended the year. And then those are the main things I think we'll kind of start up with this year. And kind of see like what would be interested. The way we're kind of looking at this, Anna, is that there's like three or four different sets priorities within our committee, and within each one, there's a lead. So Zavi, who I'm going to turn the meeting over to in a second, she's been really leading up the farmers market, and as I was mentioning, that has some fits and turns in terms of how it's going, but there's kind of these subgroups or subtasks, and each of us are kind of focusing a little bit more on that. Some of us are across two, but that's kind of how we're dividing and tackling.
Yeah. Thank
Uh,
you. Thank you for that overview.
oh, thank you. Zavi, I know we kind of left, and I don't know if we ever got a time on the calendar with the fine folks over at RFK, but um, what do we need to reconnect with them? I guess uh, what are the next steps on your end in terms of farmers market and things that we want to think about for 2026?
Yeah, I can reach back out. We did not get any time on the calendar. I know it was around the holidays, and I think folks were maybe not available, not in the office. So I can send some follow-up emails because I think there was one gentleman we were emailing back and forth with, and then I found the point of contact for the actual RFK farmers market.
Oh,
So can reach back out to her as well and just see if there are any updates because I think they were saying that there may be some developments.
oh, okay.
Um, so we'll see. But yeah, I can reach back out. I've been on a bit of a hiatus, probably since about Thanksgiving. So I have a list of other folks that we talked about reaching out to as well. So maybe I can get with Nicholas and we can divide and conquer that list and then just see if there are any others that we may want to reach out to just to see if we can get some traction or if there's any interest in any with any of the existing farmers markets or other folks that may be willing to partner with us because I think pretty much ran into a dead end with Fresh Farm, even on the was it like the well, I can't remember what they call it, but essentially like the boxes, like the box delivery type thing.
Correct.
I wasn't able to get any more information about that either. So yeah, so yeah, I have a long list of people to potentially reach out to and just see what they say.
No, and I know with the holidays, everything kind of got put on hold with a lot of organizations. I did speak with very briefly Emily Richardson over at Common Good City Farm Farmers Market. They're the ones that are kind of the tail end of LaDroit Park and kind of the tail end of 1B. Um, they do accept. I think when we talked to Zabi to uh, the folks over at Farm Fresh or Fresh Farm, they do accept the Fresh Farm uh, credits, the EBT SNAP funding, and they try to add on to it. I think during that call, we learned that with the funding cuts from the administration, they weren't able to give as much as they had in the past. And I think that's affecting some of the local farmers and the people who rely on farmers market. But Emily told me that Common Good does work within the network of Fresh Farm programs to provide food to folks who need it the most. And so that's one avenue. Even if we can't get something firm for 2026, she said that she'd be willing to help out ANC 1B as much as she can. The one caveat or one thing that we just have to be aware of is that they're all the way over on this edge of 1B. So I don't know if there's another farmers market maybe closer to like Adams Morgan or closer to like 17th Street that we could also, in the meantime, just direct and communicate people to as we get the farmers market up and running, or figure things out for one that's a little bit more centrally located.
Yeah, that was one of the groups that I reached out to initially, because they are in our ANC, just to kind of see if they would be interested in partnering with us, and also to ensure that we're not sort of encroaching on what they have going on over there, because they're doing some really great work. But they declined. They said they were very limited in resources. But I think it's a great idea to help the market, and essentially, like, if we can find ways to send people that way and say, hey, we don't have a farmers market here, or maybe not say that, but there are farmers markets in our ANC that you can support and remind folks that they're over there.
Yeah, unfortunately, someone who lives over on like 16th and W or 16th and U, it's not as convenient, and so
Right.
that's just the downside of it. They don't have the resources. They got their funding cut too, unfortunately. So they're pretty much supporting what they can at this point. And so they're not in a position to set up a pop-up at a different location, but at least they said that they'd be willing to help as much as they can in terms of, supporting as many residents within 1B as we could. But again, having something on the other side of 1B or a little bit more centrally located would be more ideal, but I know that's much easier said than done. So um, I guess Zabi, if you want to reach out to the RFK and then just see with you, me, and Nicholas, and what would be a good time on that, and then also include Al on that as well. I know he wants to get involved on that too.
Okay, yep, I'll do that.
Great. Um, The next one is the block party. It was on my plate. And this is block party get-togethers. I still have to email me our chair, Trindade Duramo. Uh, he gave me a bunch of what the ANC can support financially. There's a bunch of rules on it. I actually have to go through training, which is great. It's actually going to provide a lot of clarity for the committee. In terms of it's an online session. It tells you what you can and cannot spend ANC funds on, and I think it will help provide us with a little bit more clarity in terms of what we can spend the funds on, and so that when people come or organizations come to ask for grants and dollars, we have a little bit better understanding of how we can work with them on that. Uh, with that being said, the one follow-up task I know we talked about at the very end of our November meeting was seeing if that we could buy assets like tables, chairs, speakers, stuff like that. We would still have to figure out where to store them at, but one of the ways would be is for us to be kind of the supplier where people could, we could work with different neighborhoods or SMDs and say, if you're doing a block party, here's a sheet of everything that the ANC has, mark the boxes what you like. We'd have to know in advance and be a first come, first serve basis. But that way, folks aren't scrambling around trying to find like a cooler or a table or speaker and a microphone. So, there'd be a little bit easier way for people to host these get-togethers. And then also like, uh, could be easels or whatever would make the most sense for the different things. So I had that on my list to follow up with Miguel and Karen and the office of the ANC to see what we could actually spend money with. Whether or not we want to go down that path is a different story, because obviously we'd have to store it and then coordinate it and, have a sign out sheet, and there'd be some logistics on that. But at least we'd have some idea in terms of whether or not it would even be a path we'd want to move down. And then and I've been trying to convince her, Amanda over in Commissioner Holden's commission area. I think he is 1B07. Amanda Lai, she did a fantastic job with her first run at a block party over on Seton Place. And she put together this wonderful packet of the do's and don'ts of it. and it was from her experience on it. I'm going to add our experience over in LaDroit Park, but I'm trying to find like maybe two or three other different um, block parties near 1B or adjacent to 1B or in 1B that's been historic. Kind of get there and put it on too. But it'd be nice to have kind of a checklist and a how-to guide on the block party, and that's what I've been trying to work on, and will continue to work on between now and March and February. Then once we get into the April timeframe, I think that's when neighborhoods start thinking about it. Um, I really like Miss Gall's idea, Karen's idea of trying to convince each SMD to have one event per year. And that's something I think we should be pushing forward on that as well. Whether it's like just a simple event or things like that. So I'll spend the next month or so trying to work on getting that refined, but I'm wondering if there's a way we can pull together like which SMDs are missing them. I guess we could ask the commissioners. Uh, Karen, do you think that's the easiest way is just ask the commissioners if they know of a block party or how what from your experience, what is the best way of getting an event list together so we can get stuff on the calendar?
Well, one of the best ways is I know that each one of the commissioners, they should have their own email list for their constituents. And so that would be the first go around to sort of let's create a survey that they can send out to their constituents so that they can find out if there's an interest in what type of party, because everyone has a different type of block party that works for the area where in which they live.
Agreed. And I think it's a very, I mean, I'm hoping we get nine block part like events throughout the ANC 1B would be great. But I know it's going to depend a little bit about if we have a lead person within that neighborhood who steps up to the plate and initiates it. But it'd be great to do that I think that should be our goal this year.
Yeah, generally what I try to use is the block captains. If the block captains could sort of give me an idea of who is the main spokesperson for that little area that they are in. It's only 2,500 residents, but
Correct.
everybody is not always engaged.
I'm sorry, I'm just writing that block. Captains, captains. No, I think that's a great idea. Okay. And engagement. Okay. Have that. The one, just to kind of circle it back, uh, the African American Civil War Museum, we can reach out again and see if they have a firm date on their grand reopening. I know Al went on their website. Al, was it yesterday or the day before you went on their website to see if they had a new date on it and it wasn't updated yet?
No, there were no updates, but I did um check around and it looks like they are still accepting volunteers. I don't know what the volunteers are for, but I'm happy to reach out to them to see if there's something we can do. I know it's a budget thing and there's still construction happening, but if there's something outside of physically doing a party for them, I'm sure we could find volunteers to help them.
That would be excellent. Um, I know Karen Gall here, and then Miguel, the chair, has had conversations with the director over there. I've only met him very briefly in passing. I'm not quite sure if it makes sense to do a soft handoff or Karen, what do you think would be
Well,
a good way to reach
I
out to him?
spoke with one of the committee members, namely the director's wife, yesterday. So I will. I they were working on the Martin Luther King information. I mean event yesterday.
Okay.
So, but I'll see what they're hyper focused on next steps. I know it's been incremental, as Al mentioned, on how they're doing things, but I do want to get something concrete in writing so that it could be something that's distributed to the committee. Okay.
That would be great. And I
And
think we
Karen, I'm so
should.
glad you mentioned that because I did see that they did a MLK thing just from their social media. And if there's a way, even if there's a way to share that with people broader than the folks that follow them, I think that would be just a nice thing to do for the community.
I think so too. The goal is to try to get the community much more engaged
Yeah.
with that location, because it has always been a pretty good focal point. But with the move and everything, I want everyone to sort of, like you say, to be really, really engaged with it. But was that it? Did you need anything else, Matt? Um, Mike?
No, it was just it was mainly I just wanted to make sure that someone on our committee or multiple people are engaging with them to see how we can help. And I know it could be a multiple different avenues. It could be help with communications and marketing, could help with like with their grand reopening. I think it'd be nice if the ANC 1B could do, and we talked about it too in terms of like help supporting like some of their events during the grand reopening, but with the process, we just need to present that to the commission ahead of time so that the if we do want to spend funds to help out, the commission can review and vote on it. And I know that they got delayed. Someone told me that they had some construction delays or like some stuff was being caught up in production in terms of shelving or equipment they were waiting for. And so I just want to make sure that we're not missing the opportunity to support them in as many ways as we can because it's going to be fantastic to have that in our neighborhood. So the grand reopening. I know they've been spending a lot of time, energy, money, sweat, tears on getting that, and it's going to be a great reopening right in pretty much the heart of ANC 1B. So just trying to find ways we can support them.
And also, what I was thinking, Mike, is that we also should have for organizations of this nature, the historical organizations like this, we should have like a, a, a just like we're doing a white pager for the block parties, we need to have something for organizations like this so that we can show what the how-tos are, what we can do and what we can't do, and what are ideal in regards to what we're putting out for the assistance for these type of organizations. And then there was something else that I want to add to the new business that I brought up in another committee that I want to see if you're open to for this discussion today.
Sure. Would you mind? We only have one more item for today. Would you mind just? I just wanted to talk about marketing, or we can. I mean, Karen, if you want to bring it up now, um,
No,
that's
go
fine by
ahead
me
and
too.
do your piece, and then that way I can bring it up towards the end if that's okay.
Okay, excellent.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry, I'm just writing notes as we speak here. So, for a grant application, similar to the neighborhood events. Okay. Neighborhood events. Okay, great. And I think that's a great idea because there's a lot of like, um, unknowns on that. And I think just providing the guidance on that white paper would go a long way. The last thing that I just want to talk about today, and then turn over for new business and other items, is just marketing and ways that, this is kind of an open-ended question, but ways that we can kind of connect with the community, and what should we be connecting them with? What's kind of our message? And there may be some more open-ended questions here that we'll have to go back and kind of put um, some thought around and come back next month or the following month. But ways that we can connect with the community. There's some, I don't want to call them easier ones, but there are some ones that I think several of us know about. There's the, Art All Night. I know the ANC 1B had a table up there. There's the newsletter. There's different avenues of listservs. But are there other ways that we can connect with the community to know, I'll be honest, I really didn't know what the ANC did until probably a year or so ago. And I didn't know kind of where their, I don't want to call it decision making, but their influence was over certain policies within the community. So not only did I not know what the ANCs really did probably 2 years ago, I also was unaware of kind of there was opportunities for the community to become part of a committee such as this, and also like what were the key responsibilities of an ANC. So just trying to think about ways that we can connect with the community, engage with the community, educate the community, and then also see how we can support the community. So make it a kind of a two-way street on there, and just kind of leaving it open to some open suggestions. Some might be easier to do than others. Some might be longer term kind of items that we'll have on our list. But just kind of wanted to get from the group what are some ideas that we can connect with the residents of 1B.
I think the great starting points that we're doing is the actual engagements, the various engagements that we came up with in regards to the block parties, the meetups. I think that those are really important. Just putting a timeline of action of them actually occurring is what I really would like to see. We may write up what we think is a great idea, but seeing them actually in action is extremely important, and this goes along with the farmers market and having the operating procedures written down. That was the second step, which I think is extremely critical.
Okay.
And then two, I mean, and three, to make sure that the people, places, and things that we're doing the touch point with are really something that the community really is really happy with and that they want to engage with, and we show that we're supporting. I think that those are the three benchmarks that I would have to offer.
Okay. Great.
I put this in the chat. I don't know if everyone's looking at the chat, but I think Karen, what you said before around finding other things like the Civil War Museum that we can promote and support will get the community engaged, but also educate them, which I think is also, as you were saying, like kind of the goal, getting people out there, getting people to support things. And then the other thing, and I've been thinking about this, is just making sure we have a way of talking about ANC. So whether it's like everyone that's in all the different committees, they're saying the same thing, and we all know what the goals are clear and what we're doing. And it's a simple elevator pitch versus I think if you ask me right now, describe this committee, I would have a lot of things and probably ramble on, kind of like I'm doing right now. But having like a quick, if we're at a community, one of the porch events or block parties, how are we describing how we're benefiting the community?
I agree. I think, like you said, Al, I think it's really important that everyone has it should be real clear, at least 3 points that we can say about what ANC does and what the community engagement is all about. I think that's really, really critical, because if you don't know what you're talking about, guess
No,
what?
you're right.
You'll have
Totally.
everybody all over the place. And I think that that's really, really important. Um, and and just like we had with the drummer circle, that was one we were going to support that. The Civil War Museum, we're supporting that. Um, Finding all of the real critical, not only historical, and they may also be new and up and coming things that are
Mhm.
happening that we can showcase that the ANC is making a footprint in those locations. And once everyone's finished adding, it'll also add on to what I wanted to share um for the new business once everyone adds their part.
Excellent. The I think these are all great points. Sorry, I've been typing as the ideas have been coming. The one thing, and I know Pepper is uh she does a lot of outreach and like event kind of meeting and greeting folks. Pepper, what kind of makes an success, like if we were to have like a table at an event, from your perspective, what would be like the things you'd want to see from the ANC? Like I like the idea of the talking points, the really clear points of like communication of what the ANC does. But from your experience, what other things would be great to have at kind of like a event where we're trying to promote and connect with the community for the ANC 1B?
Definitely. Hi, everyone. Happy Taco Tuesday. One of the things that I would recommend is just resources that are available within the community. I know that because I'm a street team member for the mayor's office 211 line, and they just relaunched that back on February 11. So just introducing them to like resources that are available, community events that might be available, whether it's free or minimum cost. I think that'll be really good and engaging for the community at a whole. Definitely snacks if we can provide little snacks and stuff because people like free food or candy. I think that'll be a good thing because normally we have our tables in majority of the Ward 7 and 8 and 6, and we have done a few things in 4 and 5. We haven't done anything in Ward 1 yet with the 211 line, but we have done it in all those other wards. But like I said, but they normally connect with DC Housing, so they have like go-go bands out, they have free food. A lot of the different vendors are out there, which I have a slew of pictures. We've had a lot of different other organizations that are there, and it's free for the community. And then they also provide T-shirts and magnets and pins. So it's a lot of different things that we can explore. I'm not sure what the budget is because I know this particular one, they have a budget, but they are again partnering with other organizations that are in DC to help the community as a whole. And those are some suggestions that I have.
Uh, I love it. And I think those are great suggestions. I, it could vary from season to season, from year to year, but I love the fact that taking advantage of the resources that are already available. And I also wrote on there, maybe there's other city agencies that are doing things in ANC 1B that we can kind of hitch a ride and kind of, set up a table next to them or support them in terms of reaching out to more of the community. So like, if there's a certain thing that the city's trying to get out and, trying to make sure that the public is aware of, kind of just getting ahead of that and putting it on our calendar so that we're letting the residents of 1B know. And then, having some sort of presence there to either answer like, I saw somewhere where 1A, ANC 1A had a meet and greet, and I was telling Al this, where they had, I think it was just at a local pub or a local place, and it was a chance for everyone in the community to meet their local ANC rep. I'm not quite sure if every ANC commissioner went to this, and I'm not quite sure the turnout, but in theory, I really like the idea of having like a meet and greet, like meet your commissioner type event. The one thing, there are some limitations on what we can give away, but food is a little bit random in terms of what we can do or can't do. But I mean, there could be other items that we could give away that has the ANC branding or could be more resource oriented. But I love the idea that you kind of hand something that's fun to a resident to make it memorable for them, and also to attract people to your table. Um,
Um, Mike, with the marketing and promotional items, that sounds great. Does each one of the commissioners have like coffee with the commissioner type? Um, I mean, this is what I thought generally as the commissions, they each have their office hours. Do they have like a list of office hours for the commissioners that's listed on the website? Because that would allow what Al had mentioned, much more knowledge, the knowledge base of what ANCs do is out there. And then also what Pepper mentioned, you would be able to give out the little swag items to people that's on tables and stuff like that if they're having their various commission office hours. Has anyone thought about doing that? And then that way you can meet your constituents as opposed to like one little hub meeting.
I I I think that's a great idea. We'd have to reach out to the chair and see if that's something that they do already. I just wrote a note to follow up with Miguel on that. Um, I mean, and that kind of makes it more accessible because if you have something like our ANC is pretty much the U Street corridor. I always think about it like it goes pretty long throughout the city. I mean, it's pretty lengthwise, covers probably 20 blocks or at least 15 blocks. So having something that's a little bit more local will make it more accessible for the each individual commission area to meet their ANC. So I really like the idea of the office hours. I think that's a great way to tackle this with making it a little bit easier for the community and more routine too. But I don't
Yes,
know,
because that
Karen, I
way,
have no idea if
you
they already
know,
have this or not. So I'm
well,
gonna follow up with Miguel to see if they already have this.
yeah, because it's extremely important because there's supposed to be some engagement between the ANC rep and their constituents, and all of and although we're doing community engagement for the commission as the whole, each
Hmm.
one of them should at least have a list of how often they're meeting with their constituents, because that way we know that they're doing their job. That's one really effective way to know that they're actually doing their component, and all these beautiful ideas that we have, it could be shared with them in order to let them educate their constituents. So that's now I know you still have Zavi and Nicholas. They didn't share.
Oh, Xavier, Nicholas, do you have any other thoughts in terms of ways to connect, touch points, thoughts in terms of how we can connect with our community a little bit more?
Yeah, I don't have anything to add, but I'm agreeing and nodding my head with a lot of the things that I'm hearing tonight. So thanks, everyone.
All right. Thanks, Avi. Nicholas, do you have anything on your end?
Yeah, no, same. I agree with everything that everyone has said. The only thing I would definitely say is just to make sure, key point that we're also connecting with the businesses in this district as well. In reference to engagement because they're important to the community, especially as you mentioned, U Street being a very popular pinpoint for the city, so the businesses are important as well.
And I know, Nicholas, there's also a economic development or a committee. I'm probably mispronouncing the official name of the committee, but there's one that reaches out to the businesses, and they're trying to do a it hasn't been done before, it hasn't been done in a while, but they're trying to put together a database of all the businesses so that, we could share information. Like the city just had a round of grants that they come out annually with. And so, even just reaching out to them and saying like, hey, make sure you're taking advantage of applying for these grants. It's some are lottery, some are, there's only so many winners per applicant, but at least connecting with them on the city events and city grant information, but also like I think just getting in touch with them and saying like, hey, how I know Karen does a fantastic job with this with the with her committee, the safety, but I think just the ANC could I think connecting with the business is a great idea.
I think that's an excellent idea. Well, I think I suggested that we should have gotten. I did it probably in the committee. Suggested we have the list of all of the businesses, not just bars, because people always
Right.
assume that we only have bars. We have over 10,000 businesses and under my jurisdiction for the third district. So I know there's quite a few of those businesses in the ANC 1B area. And we critically try to reach out for them in regards to making sure they have public safety information, meeting with making sure that they have their all their cameras and everything set up and connected directly with MPD so that if they have any security issues. So we do that. But if you're ready, I'm happy to
Yeah.
add in my very important thing that I think that is really critical for ANC in regards to having a footprint for their outreach. We had a very tragic incident that happened in our ANC 1B area around Christmas. Um, and there was a gentleman who lost his life in a house that collapsed on him. He was working as a contractor, and it was it's very difficult to even think about it, but and also to know about it and how his family suffered. And what I had suggested to one of our committees that the zoning committee that we always talk about the location and everything, and I had suggested that we do some type of bereavement gift. And I know you're about to do your training, and I don't have anything listed that offering a bereavement um, some type of bereavement card, condolences, or type of instrument that would allow it to be a support in a type nature to families that may suffer some type of tragedy. I know a few years back we had an incident where there was a explosion, a gas explosion on the street from a someone hit one of the Pepco lines, and we had that happen. But I know that doesn't happen that often. But I just think that that type of comforting touch point is really important when it shows the heart of the community. So I think that ANC 1B at least should have some type of way, and when there's like a tragic incident that happens inside of the community of that type of nature, and I'm not saying for, every single bereavement issue, but I just think that there should be something that we should offer as a community as a whole to help in those situations. That was my suggestion. And I'm thinking I would love to hear from the committee if they get a consensus, if they think that that's something that we should engage with.
Um, I did hear about the incident regarding the contractor who lost his life in the accident, the building collapsing. I think this is the one over on V Street, Karen.
That's correct.
Yeah, and it was. I mean, there's a lot of. I mean, it was like with every death, a lot of deaths. It was, something that could be avoided. And in theory, I really like the idea. The one thing that I think before, I have no idea what the ANC rules are on that, um, and I don't know
I
what the
did my
commission would
research,
want
but
to.
I didn't.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I did some research, but I did
Okay.
not find anything. And I was going to contact Kent, but I just was like, you know what? I know Kent, he would know because he's been doing this forever. But I did, and I know that they've been updating, and I did not see anything that would keep the ANC from doing this.
Okay.
But I did want to considering one how it was publicized, number one, number two, the how critical it was and the type of incident that it was. I just wanted to know if we, again, like we was talking about guidelines, at least, certain things and the scope of which we would allow that type of offering to be given to within the community. And then two, I just think that that also shows that we're connected, the empathy that is connected to the community will be showcased in that way. So that was my reason behind that.
No, no, I agree on. There's a lot to flesh out on this. Um, Directionally, I think it is a uh, good thing for the ANC to do, and I think there should be some way that we do something like this. Um, I would probably first step just from a standpoint of getting it cleared from OANT, the office of the ANC, just to make sure that whatever we do is good by them, and then. Um, I think we would have to formalize some sort of, and every incident's different. And as you mentioned, you couldn't do it for every single event. But for the ones that are kind of this nature, I would see that, providing some guidance to the ANC or at least proposing it to the ANC commission as a whole of, what are people's thoughts in terms of how we would commemorate and kind of like with the bereavement, show our sympathy and support for incidents like this. And then, is there a standard thing that we do, or is it something that is like unique per thing, and there's like a certain, way we go about it. Um, but direction, I think that's where our heart should be. And I like that. I just, to be honest, it would have to take some digging on our end to figure out some of the back end, what we could do and
Well,
what we couldn't, and then also working with the commission as a whole to see like get their thoughts and how they'd want to tackle this too. But I'm very supportive of something like this. That's
yeah,
my personal opinion. I don't know if anyone else has
well,
anything else
we're
to add.
pioneering. There's a lot of efforts that we have to pioneer,
Yeah.
because we have to show that we are the change agents, and we also have to be the ones who make the standards because people look at this ANC and follow the direction. And I think that one of the things is critical to be the ones to come up with these ideas and actually follow through on them in order for people to see that as a way to do things. This is the heart of Washington D.C. We're in the heart of of this whole Ward 1, and I think that it's really critical that we start showing some of that that respect of who we are. And I would look forward to seeing you know whatever it is that you are going to present to the ANC as a chair. But if you need me to help you get some information together, I'll be very happy to assist you.
Yeah, I think this is going to take many steps, and I appreciate and very thankful that you brought this up. Um, there's going to be many steps at different lanes on this, and one is checking with the OANC to see, and sometimes just asking the question because you would be surprised how many times we are the first commission or one of the first commissions to ask a question that really has them kind of spark. Um, and they often don't come back and say no. They say, well, you can do this or do this. And then, with the Shakespeare in the Park at Malcolm X, it was one of those things that they had to actually redefine their rules on their end to allow it. They thought it was a great idea. They thought it was a great way for the ANC to be involved with with their community. But it was the first time that the ANC had actually put on an event of that nature, and the ANC, or I'm sorry, the office of the ANC actually had to refine or get back with some set guidelines. So I imagine that might be in the same vein here, where we're going to ask the question for the first time, and my gut is telling me that they're going to be thinking about it, and they're probably going to take some while to flesh it out to see what the guidelines were for, if this was not just our ANC, but ANC's all wide. And so I think they'll be supportive of it. It's just I think we'll have to go on that path, and then on the other path, with Miguel and the commission, just get their ideas in terms of like, is this something like, how would you envision this? And then, Karen, that's where I think, kind of adding some, maybe even jointly asking Miguel at the very front before we roll it out to the whole commission, but like kind of getting their thoughts of like, you know, is this something that you guys would want to support? Which I think their answer would be yes, but how they would envision it, and then hopefully in those two lanes, and there's probably one or two other lanes, get some other answers on it. But in spirit, and I think I really like it, and I think pushing forward on it on different levels, I think it would be a great thing for us to do.
Yeah, I think getting the consensus of this committee, I did bring it forward in the other committee to bring it to this committee, and everyone, they all voted to support it coming into this committee. And that's the reason why I'm bringing it. And so it would be nice if you can, I'll make a motion that we all vote on this to see whether or not we can get a consensus of how when one of this committee feels on this matter, and then you can take that forward to the next level. Is that okay?
Yeah. Karen, if you want to make the official motion, and then or you can just rephrase what you just said, and
Yes.
I can just second it.
I move that the I keep forgetting which committee. That I make a motion that I move that the community engagement committee offers a bereavement instrument to for condolences and commemorations to the any particular tragic situation that is of extreme significance within the ANC 1B Commission as part of the community engagement efforts to be I'm recommending this to the full ANC. So that's my motion.
Motion. Do I hear a second?
I thought it was going to be you, but
I
you
will
are the
second
chair.
it. I don't think I can officially vote on unless there's a tie, but I think I can second.
You can, but you can also
I'll
add. Al
I'll
wanted to
second
second.
it. I'll second it. I was like trying to quick Google or on the ANC site. I
Thank you.
think I second it
Okay.
based on the motion.
It's open for discussion. Does anyone have any comments, questions, things to add on this? And then if if there's no other comments, questions, or on that, from your hand, gonna just ask all in favor, all opposed, and then abstentions. Just raise your hands, and then once you so all in favor. Once we count, we'll go ahead and take them down, and then we'll do all opposed. And I'm going to vote. And then all so we have seven in favor. We'll go through the formality here. Any opposed? Please take your hands down. I'll give everyone a second here. Okay. Any opposed? Okay. Any abstentions? Okay. The motion's passed. Motion carries. Uh, and but I really like the idea, and I'm glad we took some time today to talk about it. Um,
Thank you
so
very
Karen, I'll
much.
follow up with you offline to see what you think is the best, or what we jointly think is the best next steps in terms of reaching out to Miguel and the commission on that.
Okay, I have the gentleman's name, and I guess I'll reach and get the family's contact information.
Okay.
But I do have some some of the pertinent information so far.
Okay. Excellent. I'll let me just make a note to any other new business, any other items that are in people's minds or ideas? Well, excellent. Anna, I know a lot was kind of coming at you today, and I'm glad this was Anna's first meeting, as many of you know. I'll reach out with you offline and get with that. Get with you to see if there's like a specific group you'd be interested, or if you have more questions. Um, and then we'll go from there. But and then
Right.
Zavi, I'll reach out with you, and I know you're gonna reach out with us, Nicholas, and Al to get something on the calendar for farmers markets, and then I'll reach out with Karen. We'll figure out next steps to reach the commission on the motion that just passed. And then the block party, I have on my plate to continue that, and also twist the arm of Amanda over in 1B07 because I think she'd be a great addition to this committee. And then with the marketing, just continue to think about ways and ideas. A lot of great ideas came up in here, but if you have an idea in terms of ways to connect with the community, or ways we can engage with the community or support the community, no, it doesn't have to be in this meeting. Just shoot an email to the group, and you know, I think any and all ways that we can touch the community would be great. Some are going to be easier than others, just logistically, but the more we kind of think about it, I think the more things will kind of fall into place on that. I think that is it. Gene, you've been quiet on the line. Do you want to add anything? I know you're, well, everyone have a good rest of the day, um, and uh, and have a good rest of the week. Thank you, everyone.
Good
You.
night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Have a good
You too.